Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Sempre Astra. My name is Maggie, and 2 weeks ago I completed training with my new guide dog Wilma. In today's video I will summarize the first 2 weeks of our independent work since we completed the training. As always, I want to emphasize that I am not a guide dog trainer and that I am just a blind person who is sharing her experience. Also, I want to mention that I live in the UK and that my guide dog was trained by British Guide Dog School. In the first part of this video, I will describe the changes to our daily routine that I had to make over the last 2 weeks. And during the second part of this video, I will share our progress as working together and Wilma guiding me. So, the very important thing to mention is that over the last several months, Wilma's daily routine was that during every working day, one of the members of the family who looked after Wilma before they work was taking her to training center, and for most of the day, Wilma was learning her guiding tasks and also she was learning the tasks that are not directly related to guiding but are very important for daily life and for the comfort in daily life. So when our training finished and I returned to my normal usual working hours, it was massive shock to Wilma that the world doesn't revolve around her training anymore. And I went through this change and through this transition smoothly thanks to the support of our trainer. So the first thing that our trainer recommended is to ensure that I always have ready for Wilma her bone that is stuffed with the food that was soaked in the boiling water and frozen. So when she is left for quite a while without my attention, and when she gets bored, I can give it to her, and then she enjoys this a lot and she can occupy herself for quite a while. And also, the trainer shared with me a very important tip which I found extremely useful. So what she said is that it is extremely important that I don't wait till Wilma is already bored and already kind of trying to get my attention, and that I learn to preempt Wilma's behavior, and I learn to anticipate when she will start getting restless and frustrated, and I can give her my attention or something that will occupy her before she starts distracting me. Because if I waited for too long and if I gave her my attention after when she's distracting me, I would be reinforcing her negative behavior. And when I can give her something or give her my attention before she does it, I reinforce her positive behavior when she's staying in bed nicely, right? I also looked through my diary at work and ensured that I have a break every few hours, so I can take Wilma for like 5-minute break or 10-minute break so she can go to the toilet, and I give her some of my attention, and this is perfectly enough for her. And I also ensure that this doesn't have a negative impact on my quality of work. And thanks to these tips, after a couple of days, Wilma adjusted very well. And when I take my laptop or my keyboard or I talk to somebody on the phone, on Skype, she just goes to her bed and she can occupy herself, or she just goes to sleep, or or she plays with whatever I gave her to play with. And I also want to say that naturally having a dog is a lot of work for everyone, even for a pet dog, right? And technically I have so many more duties and so many more tasks that I have to do to look after Wilma, but despite this I still have more time and more energy for myself than I had before I got Wilma. And this is because Wilma is helping me so much with getting to places. I walk with her so much faster, and it costs me so much less energy that in the end I have more time and more energy to myself. Also, what the trainer suggested was that every day before we start work, we not only go for a bathroom break for Wilma, but we also go for a short walk where Wilma can guide me. So every day I try to pop either to a local shop or to a coffee shop if they open so early, but some of them do, or we just go for a walk around the block. And this is also helping me to be more energetic and more focused and more concentrated on my work. Yeah, because like being on fresh, in fresh air is really energizing. And then in terms of our working relationship, I was always worried, and I also mentioned that in my previous videos, that if when the trainer stops coming here and when our training stops, that our quality of work may deteriorate. And luckily this didn't happen, and this is my subjective feeling. But also the trainer came here for a day after a week, after a week of our independent work, and she supported us with learning new, very kind of complex route. And she also supported us to going to 2 more vets. And the reason why we had to do it is that basically Wilma was born in Japan, and before she was given to me, her chip was checked on many occasions and it worked fine. But when we went to one of the vets in my town, it didn't work. And we were really worried that there may be something wrong with this chip, and we were just thinking, shall we give her another one, or is she going to be okay when traveling abroad with me? Is the chip going to work? So we went to 2 other vets to just double check that the chip works, and luckily it does. So probably in this one surgery, maybe the equipment wasn't working well or something, but yeah, everything is fine. So we had to double check that, and also the trainer helped me to make a plan on how to continue improving my work with Wilma over the next several weeks. And I am really grateful. I found it extremely helpful. Another thing that I wanted to share with you is that over the last 2 weeks, few incidences happened which helped me to massively build trust in Wilma. And the first thing was when I went to the neighboring town, which is this bigger town close to my tiny town, and I wanted to go to a particular shop to get something, and it was a really, really windy day. And also I had to cross like an open area square with very little landmarks. And also there was an artist who was playing loud music, and I found the shop okay, but on the way back I became very disoriented. And in the end I got confused on which side of the square I am, and I didn't know what to say to Wilma. So I just said to her, find a way. And she did it. She problem solved for me. I wasn't able to direct her where I want to go, but she knows me well enough, and she found the way, basically the direction where we had to head back home. So when the trainer was here every day, I valued every day of that training, but I always was thinking subconsciously, oh, everything is fine because the trainer is helping us, so we are not getting lost, we are not getting confused. But now I have a solid evidence of how much Wilma can help me and how brilliant she is. And another incident happened just yesterday. So I was walking down the road on the pavement. The road was going sort of from east to west, and I had to cross the road that was going from south to north, and that was so-called T-junction. So the road that was going from east to west didn't continue anymore. On the other side of the road that was going from south to north, there were like parked cars. And normally what Wilma does is that when she's helping me to cross the road, she goes in a straight line from one curb straight to another curb on the other side of the road, so we are not for too long on the road, right? And yesterday she took me diagonally across this road, which in the first second panicked me, because I thought, oh gosh, is she distracted by something, or what is happening? And then I worked out that she must have a good reason to do this. And later on I found out that basically on the other side of this road that I was crossing, there were many cars parked in a row, and there was no spaces between them. So she had to find the space to guide me back to the pavement on the other side of the road, right? I hope that it makes sense, and I'm sorry if I confused you. So again, I was very happy with myself that I trusted Wilma and I followed her. And naturally, in the future, she may be distracted, she may make mistakes, so I have to be careful. But it's wonderful that I can let go and just follow her and assess situation and know that she's right. You know what I mean? She takes over because she's right. Also, another good thing is that I stopped making mistakes as frequently as I did. And here I mean the mistake that I described in my previous video, when sometimes I think that Wilma is indicating something that I wanted her to indicate, and I am marking this positive behavior with the word and then rewarding it, but sometimes she is actually having, for instance, a sniff at something that she shouldn't sniff, right? So sometimes when I misread her body language, I used to reward her for the behavior that she shouldn't be doing. And that was not helpful because I was reinforcing accidentally negative behaviors. Now I'm much better at reading her body language, and I do it less frequently, much less frequently, if that makes sense. So this is massive improvement. And another thing that I was doing is something that I didn't mention. So I will give an example. So for instance, when I ask Wilma to find the door, sometimes when she stops, what I do is that I stretch my own hand, like I extend my hand and I start looking for this door myself. And the trainer was saying, don't do this, because as soon as you start looking yourself, she thinks, okay, my job is done. Maggie's looking for it. I don't have to look for it anymore. So what I have to do is touch Wilma when she stops. When I ask her, okay, find the door, and she stops, then I need to touch her back and then follow with my hand along her back to her neck, to her head, to her nose, and then touch whatever is in front of her nose. And if the door is there, that's fine. I say the marker word, I reward her, and we continue, right? But if the door is not there, I just have to say again, find the door, right? Until she does it, because when I do her work for her, then she may stop working. And here I will mention something that I didn't mention as well. And I just want to mention that I am aware of the fact that some schools around the world train people this way, that the person is working with the guide dog, but they also have the cane. So the school from which I had my first guide dog, Ingmar, and British school teach in a way that we only walk with the guide dogs and we don't have the canes. And if your school is telling you to use the cane, please don't listen to what I am saying. Please follow what your school is telling you, because I am not a guide dog trainer. I'm just sharing my experiences, right? So it is important that everybody does what they were trained to do. I'm just saying that I was always told that when the blind person is having dog and a cane, it may be very tempting to check with the cane sometimes when we are unsure, right? So for instance, we are not sure where the curb is because the dog maybe didn't mark it like precisely, right? And then when we start using the cane, then the dog may think, okay, thank you, you are doing the job, I don't have to do the job. And that may basically undo the training that was done, and the dog may stop working, or maybe less precise, or the quality of work may deteriorate. So I have to say that when I had Bob wasn't taught to find beans for me. So sometimes I use the cane to locate the bean, but now I don't do it anymore. And also I do my best to avoid reaching for things, and I'm waiting for Wilma to indicate. So I really stop myself from reaching for things with my hand, and I wait till Wilma indicates. And also, as I mentioned in previous videos, we have to remember that the training technique has changed. So whatever I was doing with Bob, now it is different anyway, right? So this is very important. And now Wilma can find whatever I need her to find for me, and I only have cane with me just in case, in my backpack or in my handbag, just in case Wilma was injured and she wasn't able to guide me anymore, if that makes sense, right? So this is very interesting. And another thing that I want to mention is that not only we are able to continue with our quality of work, but also we continue to learn new things. So first of all, I continue practicing with Wilma the tasks that I mentioned in one of my previous videos. So there is this place task and chin rest task. So the place task is used to when I need to walk away and I can't take Wilma with me and I need her to stay in one place. I put the blanket on the floor, I tell her to stay there, and she stays there until I come back. And we continue to build this up. She's more and more patient and less distracted. And the second task we work on is when I need to, for instance, groom Wilma or check her ears or whatever, and I place the tea towel on my knees or on my hand or on a bench or on a chair, and she puts her chin on the tea towel and she stays in that position. And then when she moves, I know that I need to stop because she needs a break, and then she repositions herself again, so I know I can continue, and she's more and more patient with that as well. And today we practice that in a park, for instance, which is very destructive for the dog. So that is a massive leap forward, right? And the last thing that I want to mention today is that today we have learned, with the help of the public member, how to find a new bin. So the situation was basically I was walking down the road and somebody said hi to me, and I needed to throw Wilma's poo away. So I thought that there should be a bin somewhere close by, and I asked this gentleman, can you help me to find the bin, and can you help me to teach Wilma to find the bin? And I asked this gentleman to stand by the bin and to kind of knock on the bin so I could hear where it is. And I asked Wilma to find the bin. She found the bin. I asked the gentleman to stay there for a minute longer so I could walk a few steps back and ask her to find it again and again. And then the gentleman was very patient with us. He stood by the bin and he kind of ensured that we located it fine. And he continued knocking on it. And then on the way back, I asked Wilma to find the same bin, and she did it. So hopefully she will remember, and we have another bin that we can find. And hopefully she will be able to find any bin soon, right? So as you can see, this is amazing that not only the training taught me basic tasks, but they also taught me how I can continue learning and improving, and this is so cool. So I will record another video as soon as we make further progress and I have interesting things to report. And thank you for staying with us on this journey, for following us on this journey, and continue crossing your fingers for us. And I will see you soon. Thank you. Bye bye.